Good morning, everybody. This is Angela here at Stamp After Sunrise. I was trying to see where everything's showing up on the screen. I have to move my table around all the time. So anyway, good morning. I've had some coffee. I've been working this morning. So we got a little mascot today. And he's just kind of going to watch us. How's that? Does he show up on there? Maybe. Hopefully. All right. Sorry. I can't see my whole screen to know what you guys are seeing, so I am trying my best here. So, guess what we're doing today? We're going to be using embossing. Got my white embossing powder, some Versamark, my tray. I'm going to use little sponge daubers. And we're going to I'm going to show you how I made this card here. Now, this is using 2 Saleabration stamp sets. It's going to be using Heal Your Heart, again, free with a $50 order, and it's going to be using what we used yesterday, the Corner Bouquet. Boy, I didn't unmount anything yesterday. I did clean them, but we're not using Ridiculously Awesome today. We're using Heal Your Heart. So we're using Corner Bouquet and the Heal Your Heart. So let me get this out of the way. The more room I have, the better. So, all right. Oh, and I did forget one other stamp. We're going to use this little green thing. I thought I was all ready this morning. So let's put our little leaf thing here, and let me grab some crumb cake ink. All right, now I think I have everything. All right, so let's get the sample out of the way, but where I can see it. And my daubers are not until the end. We need this first. No, we need crumb cake first. This goes aside. And of course I have pulled that Blackberry Bliss ribbon. That is the striped ribbon. This is actually on back order right now, so much that they have had to turn the number off. That's how popular it is. But just remember, most things in the mini catalog are going to be available till the end of June. So, what do I have here? I have a very vanilla piece that I have, I die cutted it with the stitch nested dies. So I have that ready to use. I have a piece of vellum cardstock. Now, I don't know if you have purchased vellum from other places or not, and if other places have both, but Stampin' Up! Used to carry both. There is vellum paper, and then there's vellum cardstock. That we now only carry the cardstock because it is thicker, and it allows you to stamp, and it allows you to emboss on it, whereas the paper is really thin and really flimsy. It didn't die cut well or anything, so I'm glad we only have the one, but again, it is very thick. So, all right, got that. The ombre paper, remember, free, again, another free one. I'm showing you 3, that you can get all 3 with a $150 order that I'm showing you today. If you order $150, please do not use the hostess code, but instead take advantage of your own Stampin' Rewards, and you will still qualify for my free card kit. All right, so I've got crumb cake. Again, a half sheet, cut it, scored it at 5.5. That's my base. And then I cut this piece at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. It's not a full. It's a little more than a 1/4 inch less, more than an 1/8. So I'll maybe do a series on just the layers, different size layers, and cutting them. So what I'm doing is just taking the little leaf image from that Corner Bouquet and just randomly stamping little different directions. And most of those are not going to show. The ones that do are nice. Maybe going off here. Maybe one in a different direction. That looks good. And again, most of that is going to be, I just realized you guys may not have enough light, so let's add a little more light. Hopefully that you can see. There. All right. Put this on my scrub. Let me stamp it off a little bit. Put it on my chamois so it can be clean, and it is all done. Okay. Now this piece is not going to go on the card until last, and it'll be popped. But we're going to build our card. So we've got our 2 pieces of designer paper. I'm going to take the cap off, don't I? All right. See, I told you most of those would get covered up. And this is really just using a leftover scrap of this paper. So don't throw away those scraps. You can always use them for something. Put those in there like that. So, alright, and then this will go here, but we are actually going to, I want to do it a little different. I think I'm wanting to go this way with this. Yes. No, I don't know yet. We're not to that point yet. What we are to is our embossing time. Now I'm going to show you something I did. This was when I was designing this card. I actually embossed on the vellum with clear embossing powder. I don't know if you can see, it's shiny. And then I colored it on the back, but it does not show up very well. So it's very muted. I haven't found a place to use this yet. I may just pop that in somebody's thank you card and let them create with it. But, so I have my embossing buddy. This is going to keep the embossing powder hopefully sticking from places it shouldn't. Hopefully. And we got our stamp, the little brush. We got our Versamark. As you know, Stampin' Up! Ink pads, when they are closed, the ink is coming to the top. So they're always ready to use, and you don't have to do all that squishing to get to the ink at the bottom. Well, I actually, when I store my other ink pads, my non-Stampin' Up! Ones, I actually do store them upside down. So the ink is coming to the top of the pad. Alright, so we've got this covered with Versamark, and we're just going to stamp it down here in the corner as close to the edges as I can get, because it means that's less I need to trim off. Now with Versamark on vellum, you have to be very careful and not wiggle it, because it will be a little shimmer around a little bit. Alright, we got it good. I think we got it good. Let's hope. Now I'm going to cover this. Hopefully this is, no, this is clear. Hold on, I got to get my white. I thought I had white embossing powder out. You know, they both look the same, and I did not look at the lid. So, okay. Sometimes your embossing powder can get a little cakey. And then we'll just dump that back in there and squish it up next time. And I'm just moving it over a little bit. I'm going to use my brush to make sure that I got some on that corner right there. Then I kind of just wiggle, shake, and flip. It doesn't make too much of a mess. And I have that. So let me grab my heat tool. Let me set this far, far away from the heat tool. Pardon the noise, this is going to get a little loud. But hopefully you can watch the magic. And especially with vellum, you don't want to overheat, because it will burn it really quick versus cardstock. See it? Edge here, and voila, we have embossed vellum. Okay, I'm going to allow this to dry just for a few minutes. While it's drying, we can go ahead. How do we want to do that? Yeah, let's go ahead and finish designing our front of our card. Are we going to do it this way? Or are we going to do it a different way? So I'm over here pulling out, since this is very vanilla, and you know the designer paper is white, but you can, it's so subtle that you can get by using very vanilla on it. I want to do my sentiment, I think. I'm going to do my sentiment on this strip. And I'm going to do it with some Blackberry Bliss. And this time it's not going to matter if it's straight or not, because I'm going to cut these letters, the words out. Okay. I think I want to do it one more time, just in case. I like that better. This was just a little light for me, so I did a little more pressure. It's just a preference. So now my sample, I kept them, you know what, this is straight enough. All right, this is where we're going to design. Do we do it this way? No. Do we do sorry for your loss? Or, yeah, we're going to keep with our original design. So what I did is just pretend like I have a scanning cut. Not close, just separating the words. A little bit. I do want that to look curved around that, so. That one I got a little close, but I don't want that corner there. There. All right, now I have this. That's a little not curvy enough there for me. Just my own preference. And I'm gonna do this. There we go. All right, we're going along with what I did before. All right, so this is dry enough now. What I'm going to do before, let's just set these aside, is I'm taking sponge daubers, I'm taking Granny Apple Green and Rococo Rose. The Rococo, take a sponge dauber, tap it. And I'm just going to kind of color on some of these little flowers. It gives them a nice little pink hue. There are flowers and all this greenery down through here. Do I have to get every one of them? No. I just want to kind of add some color to this. Then we'll take our green sponge dauber. Some of this out of the lid. There we go. Between some of that. Okay, so now we have green and pink of our white blossom pine. Alright, get these out of the way. Let's do a little fussy cutting. If you guys haven't figured out, I love fussy cutting. Dies are great, but long time when I started stamping before the dies became real popular. And especially before Stampin' Up! Started carrying them. Or we didn't have so many dies. Almost every stamp set didn't have a die. That's where I learned to fussy cut. Fussy cut in Vellum is really easy too. The key of fussy cutting and getting those edges, sometimes you want to cut right against the edge and sometimes you don't. But the key, either way, using good sharp scissors, little scissors like these paper snips, those are my favorite, and you turn the paper. That way you don't end up with all those jagged edges, because if you turn, you're cutting with your snips. I mean, I'm cutting, but I'm moving the paper rather than my snips. See how that easy it is? See? I'm going to go down that edge now. Okay. And there is our piece that is going to go on our thing. And I have another half piece. I can do another one. Okay. Let's assemble. The ink is a little wet on this still, so I've ended up with a green thumb. I wish I had literally had my mother's green thumb. But anyway, okay, this goes flat. Put a ribbon around it. You guys remember how I do my ribbon? There's no sense in wrapping it all the way around the back. It's waste. These are not good ribbons. Scissors are good for paper. Okay, put it where I want it. Flip it over. Pull adhesive. Of course, I don't want to cooperate with me. Now, before I stick the other side down, I'm going to make sure it stays straight across. There we go. So, and that's going to stay on there. It's stuck to the back. And then we're going to pop this onto our card front. You know what? Everybody says to put one in the middle. I rarely do, but I will today, just for you. Okay. Then we take a little piece of ribbon. Tie a little knot. I don't see my ribbon scissors handy, so I'm gonna have to try to do this. Hold it taut. Okay. There's this part. We're gonna put this on, and because of this embossing powder here, this is gonna go lay right here. It will hide a lot of the adhesive. But I've also found the seal doesn't show through quite so much as other adhesives have. I'm just going to lay a line up in the corner on that edge. Look at that. Cool. All right, we got these little bitty pieces and we're going to pop them. So again, this is where the mini, oops, that's not minis. There's my minis. There's my minis. The mini dimensionals come in really handy. They fit behind these little pieces. Okay. I think this is that's your loss. Healing Heart is an excellent, just wonderful stamp set for when you need sympathy or support. To send a little card for a friend. All right, guys. Sorry for your loss. And we are finished. So that was not so long. It's got a wow factor. The embossing, that is dry now. I'm not coming up. And I will be back tomorrow. I'm trying to think. Oh yes, I have one more card to show you using the corner bouquet. And I actually have two, but I will only make one. How's that? And if I might come back and remind me to show you what I'm doing with this little guy. Okay, this is from the little chicks. So, isn't he just precious? All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.